Hello and welcome to another episode of the Farr Show where I'm Damien Farr, and tonight we're talking about The Last of Us. And I know what you're thinking, Damien, you're finally talking about it? The show ended a couple weeks ago. Yeah, there's been a lot of movies suddenly coming out, which is really weird, honestly. March was just filled with movies, and April, the beginning here, was filled with movies as well. And now we're going to go through a little dry spell before summer blockbuster season. And when I say a dry spell, I mean Guardians of the Galaxy is the next big movie, so let's start talking about The Last of Us here, where, before we do, though, I gotta say, got the watch. Similar watch to the one they have in the show. Similar, not exact. It's got a light-up feature, which is really awesome. Got the God of War ring from God of War Ragnarok Collector's Edition, or Joheim Edition, which the box is actually just right over there. And then I got the Uncharted ring. So, needless to say, I'm repping the PlayStation here, as I rep Sony all the time with, you know, every camera pretty much, every camera being a Sony camera. So, let's start talking about here, where we got some of the basic info here. This show premiered on HBO and HBO Max. I'd say HBO Max, because that's where I watched it. I watched it once on HBO, and honestly, it wasn't as cool, because I didn't get subtitles. The show is created by Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann. Neil Druckmann obviously made the games, The Last of Us. He wrote those. And then Craig Mazin did Chernobyl, which I have not seen, but I heard good things, and after watching this, I might have to give it a watch. It's based on The Last of Us by Naughty Dog, and it's written by Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann, so cool. Cast. This is where you're good here. You got Pedro Pascal as Joel, who now I just, in my head, think of as Daddy, because The Mandalorian and this, Daddy. And then Bella Ramsey as Ellie, who at first I said, when we did the first episode, I wasn't too keen on yet, but she grew on me, and I think she was pretty great for the character. Do I think she looked exactly like her? No, not at all, but she was good. And, you know, actresses that are before the age of 20, same with male actors as well, before the age of 20 are really hit or miss. They're either good or they're not good. But I think in this case they were good. I haven't seen her in anything else, so I don't know if this is how good she is normally. It may have just been the show, because you always get those certain actors that can make it or break it in a performance, and who knows, maybe this was it. Then we got to talk about some of the guests. We got Anna Torv as Tess. We got Gabriel Luna as Tommy. We got Nick Offerman as Bill. And Murray Bartlett as Frank. Cast. Even the back cast here is pretty stacked, I would say. The supporting cast, or the guest cast in this case. So, it just closed the actual thing. Gotta love it. So, then we get to the actual plot here, which is the first game expanded on. There's one episode where they really expand on Bill, and then his love affair with Frank is the best way to describe it. I don't want to spoil too much, but that's all I'm going to say there. And the Left Behind DLC is also included in this, so that makes sense why they remade Last of Us Part 1 with the DLC. It all works together, and the thing closed again. That's not the right one. So, that was cool. Future. Let's talk about the future of this series, where I think for Season 2, honestly, you have to have more Joel backstory. And I know what you're thinking, Damien, why? Just make the second game. I'm getting there. So, more Joel backstory. Let's actually just pull this up like this. You gotta have more Joel backstory is what I'm thinking. And then I think Season 3 should be in between The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2. I think maybe you could combine those into one, where you give more backstory between, you know, 1 and 2, but that's just me. Then you also, I think for Season 4, or if they do it 3, you know, where 2 and 3 in my mind are together, where it's more Joel backstory and then more between The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. I think you do Last of Us Part 2 then? And then after that, I think you do Last of Us Part 3, because let's be honest, they're making a third game sooner or later. So, that's what I think there. And now I know what you're thinking. Damien, there's still a lot of the video left. What are you going to talk about now? I wanted to bring up Uncharted, actually. It's been a year. A little more than a year, let's be honest there. It's been about a year since the movie came out. So I wanted to go over it again, because this felt like the best place. Another Naughty Dog situation. So, Uncharted. We got some basic info. It's directed by Ruben Fleischer. Screenplay by Raph Lee Jenkins, Art McConney, and Matt Holloway. A story by Rafe Lee Jenkins, John Hanley Roseman, and Mark D. Walker. It's based on Uncharted, which was created by Amy Hennig, and she wrote the first 3 games. She didn't do Uncharted 4, which I still like Uncharted 4, but at the same time, it's kind of weird that his brother comes out of nowhere. Never mentioned in any of the other games, but sure. Cast, we got Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. We got Mark Wahlberg as Victor Sullivan, and then we got Sophie Ali as Chloe Fraser. Personally, as a huge fan of the games, I'm not going to say that these are the greatest casting going back at it. I would still say that they, for the film they're in and the, energy they're giving, they work. Though in this universe, it seems like Sully's more of a big brother to Nate, which, that's okay. He's more of a father figure in the games, but then again, Sully's considerably older in the games. Let's just throw that out there. Considerably older in the games than he is in this. I think Sully's like in his mid to late 50s when he meets Nate, and Nate's, early teens. So, right now he's meeting him in his early 20s, and Mark Wahlberg's in his mid 40s, so I guess it's more of a brother dynamic, even though technically he could be his father, but that's not important. So, plot, we already talked about it in depth. We'll just put the link in the eye above here. But future, I want to talk about the future of the Uncharted movies, because they're making more. They said they're making more. I hope they make more. So, let's talk about the plot here, or the future. You gotta have Uncharted Drake's Fortune, which was set up at the end of the game, or at the end of the movie, really. They set it up, and I said, who could play it? Chloe Fraser, who could play Elena? And I said right away Haley Steinfeld, because I like Haley Steinfeld. But if we're going to serious casting here, I think Chloe Grace Moretz could do it, or Catherine Newton from Ant-Man Quantumanium. I think those could be 2 good castings right there. Then you got to do Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, and then Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, and then at this point, they've already set it up in this case better, so you can do Uncharted 4 A Thief's End. I think that'd be okay. So, personally, I think there's a lot you could do with the Uncharted movies. Do I think they're going to do them right? I think we're in a weird situation right now where they could do them really right or they could do them really wrong, but we'll see what happens. So really, all there is to say is, what did you think about The Last of Us Season 1? Are you excited for Season 2? And what did you think about Uncharted? Are you excited for a second movie? I know I am for both of these, excited for the next things to happen for them. So, tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and have a far off night.